of us. Paula was a speaker a few years ago, and she's based in Switzerland, from so far away, and at least it's decent time frame. It's our morning, but her evening, and Paula has been an executive coach for a while, and her specialty is athletes. And she comes from a sports background. And, it's really interesting. I've been following her for a number of years, and I love what she posts. And she helps so many people in so many ways. And, just mindset. And we know that that's really the secret to so much, right? It's all about what's happening between our ears. And Paula will help us with that. So, Paula, with that, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much. And I am so happy to be here. I'm seeing a lot of smiling faces. And don't worry, if you're not smiling yet, you will be smiling later on, and you'll know why in the end. So I'm so happy to be here. As I live in Switzerland. So yeah, it's 5 p.m. here. And I'm originally from Finland. And I really have to mention this because there's a Paul Marttila here. And this is a very Finnish last name. I got so excited because yes, Finnish people are special to me. So there we go. And yes, my background is actually from classical ballet, so that is my sport. I was trained in this, and through all kinds of experiences that I've been through, I have gotten into this field of coaching, especially mental coaching and mindset, because it is very human and it is something that we all have. I mean, regardless, we are human beings and mindset matters. So I'm going to start sharing the screen here. Here we go. I think it's the right one. So I hope you all can see this. Today it's about joy, and it's something very unique to us. Well, not really, maybe not unique to humans, because I do think that dogs especially feel a lot of joy. However, I don't know so much about the dogs, so we're going to talk about humans here. And as a success strategy, because oftentimes, I think we all kind of think that at the end of something comes joy, right? Often we think it's a result of something that we do that we have joy. However, let's turn it around, and why not use joy as a success strategy? So in this few minutes or an hour or so with together, we're going to go through 3 different tools that we're going to do together actually, to tap into that joy. And it doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter what kind of day, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You can always tap into the joy because, joy is not something that is given to you. It is something that's internal to you. It is inherent to us as humans. So with it's just 3 tools, but it is three. So in the end of this, I hope that you walk away with at least one useful tool that you can do every single day to tap into the joy, to allow yourself to, first of all, feel better, regardless of what's going on in the outside world, all the things that you cannot control. You can control your joy, you can control your mood. So this is, I put a quote here: elite athletes don't wait for success to feel good, they use positive states to perform before the results. And that's exactly what I just said. So let's go in. So I kind of thought about it. I work a lot with athletes. Actually, we're all leaders. You are all leaders. And why do leaders struggle under pressure, actually? It's a lot to do with transitions, uncertainty. Everything is always uncertain, right? Nobody knows what's going to happen. Decision fatigue, we have to make decisions all the time. Thousands every day. Luckily, not all of them are conscious decisions, but still high expectations, and not only the ones from the outside, it's the ones from the inside. We often put the most expectations and the highest expectations on ourselves. And the constant evaluation. Again, this is not just from the outside. We are evaluating, and often we could change the word evaluation into judgment. We judge ourselves, right? I mean, I am definitely one of these. I am a recovering perfectionist and still a lot of times the same. So it's always this constant evaluation. So how do this all creates pressure and we often struggle. So I put a little comparison between elite athletes and business leaders. Same situation or same outcomes from different situations. So for example, for a business leader or leaders, reorganization causes a lot of uncertainty, transitions, decisions, and in elite athletes, that could look like a change in the environment. They train in a certain environment. However, when you go and you have a game or a match or whatever it is, the environment is going to be different from that you train in. So the same reorganization happens in that field. Promotions, well, if you get promoted, you have a different level of expectation inside and outside. Evaluation, decisions, all of the things above are being done again. And the same with athletes, skill development. You're developing your skills all the time, forever. They're never perfect and you are never going to be finished. And then another one is between the jobs. So if you are, for example, just in between jobs, it's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questions, a lot of decisions based on no knowledge of what's going to happen. And in athletes, that often looks like injuries. Injuries happen, and all of a sudden, things turn upside down, and you have to deal with a lot of mental choices that you didn't have to deal with at all when you were training as normal. So, this is kind of the foundation for now. And we're going to jump into the first exercise. I would like for you to take a piece of paper and a pen before I go to the slide where you see what it's about. I just want you to be prepared. So have something to write on. It's not a long exercise, but you do need something to write with. And this is the first one. I picked this one because Friday is for a really long time already. I post a video every single Friday, and I call it the Reflection Friday. Because reflection, whether I work with athletes or any other leaders, it is one of the most powerful, very simple tools to really tap into your joy. So what we're going to do is I have a timer on well, all of us do on my phone. I'm going to measure 3 minutes. And in this 3 minutes, I want you to keep writing moments of joy since Monday. It's this week, Monday. So it's basically 4 days. And I want you to just go in and then maybe, go through in your mind for what did I go through? Who did I meet? What did I do? What were those moments of joy? And I don't want you to do any judgment. There is no right or wrong. This list is for you. You don't ever have to share it with anyone if you don't want to. So really, there is no like, oh, this is maybe not enough, or maybe that wasn't. No maybes. You just write. So if you're ready, we're going to start with the 3 minutes now and just keep writing. And I will tell you when it's like a minute left. So just keep writing. I won't want to see smoke coming out of all the pens and pencils. Or if you are using your fingers to type on your phone, I want to see the fingers smoking because you're typing so much. It doesn't have to be big. It can be tiny little moments, whether it was with your family, in your car, you heard a piece of music, you saw a flower, whatever it is. Could be you made someone else smile. And some moments of joy are very calm and quiet too. It could just be 5 minutes to yourself that you allowed yourself to have. Just keep going. The more you write down, the more these moments of joy will appear. You start with one, and all of a sudden you have many. And just these last 4 days. So, really, that timing is important. We have about 1 minute left. Make those pens smoke. Keep writing. And even it doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to be even correct writing in grammatical forms. Who cares? Um, all, all you need is to tap into your joy and write it down. We have about 20 seconds left. Maybe you have a fire extinguisher nearby if your pen starts burning because you're writing so much. I can't see everybody, so we have a countdown of 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're done. Oh, yeah, there you go. So we're done with this first exercise. So I'm going to move on to the next slide because after each exercise, I want to explain why. Why do we even do this? Well, reflection reconnects you with moments your brain usually ignores, unless you've trained it to do this. Most of us haven't trained our brains to pay attention and be aware of the moments of joy. We rather pay attention to the other stuff, the things that didn't go well, and the stuff that doesn't work, and the struggles and the challenges and those things that a lot of us call negative. So, this is training your brain to look for and be aware of moments of joy. And the more you do this, if you were to start this on a daily basis, within a short amount of time, you will find yourself throughout the day recognizing more moments of joy. Some things keep repeating themselves. And it's like, oh, I saw this flower. Oh, that brought me so much joy. It does that again. Or whatever it is, you will recognize it more and more. And so your focus will more and more shift towards feeling the joy. Not just when you're writing down these memories, but as you're living them. So, two little questions for you internally to answer is what do you notice in your body when you remember these moments? Like if you allow it, now it was 3 minutes, it's quick. And if you wrote down a lot, you didn't have a lot of time to just go to a moment and really relive it. But if you were to relive the moment, you will most likely feel the joy again, somewhere in your body physically. And that's a beautiful thing. That's how you recreate, even from past moments, this moment of joy. Like my son had a birthday yesterday. Oh, if you're a parent, you probably do. I don't know, probably not unique to me, but every time I have two kids, when the birthday is there and I look at the time of the day, I still remember what was happening now 15 years ago when my son turned 15 and that moment. And I remember the first feeling of absolute joy and love when I first saw him. And that is a beautiful moment of 15 years ago. Now, why do we do this in the last 4 days? Is because those are the most powerful moments to really train your mind. For this to not become a thing that you do every once in a while and then you write them down, but to recognize the moments as they come. So reliving it, allowing yourself to feel it again, allowing yourself to really feel the joy again in that moment is really important. And then there's might be one that really surprised you the most. If the one that surprised you the most, please circle it on your list. Somehow mark it. There we go. And then we talk about this is something I often talk about with anybody, especially with people who move a lot, which is the athletes, obviously, dancers. The state of your being, even if you do move a lot and you move your body in different ways, there are usually patterns. Now, for all of us, like me included, I don't move that much anymore. I probably should move more, like a lot of us. It's easier to change my state of my body because I don't move so much. But it is very important to remember that any state of your being, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, is your choice, and that it influences every decision that you make. So that your state becomes before any kind of strategy that says. Your state of being, which means in physical state, it means anything. Your physical state. If you tend to sit down a lot, when you take your choice, you decide that you're going to move your body in some way to create more energy or to become more awake or to better focus, you have to move. Mental state. This is also your choice. And this is could be about joy, could be about something else. Am I going to see things in a more positive light or in a rather negative light? Do I see challenges as lessons or do I see challenges as hurdles? This is a mental state that we are in control of and that we can change. It is our choice. Emotional state, the same thing. I mean, all of them are obviously connected because this is a human beingness here. So emotional state, I can be emotionally resilient and be able to distance myself, for example, from the emotions of others. That is a choice that I make, and it is up to me. Nobody has a button that they push that makes you feel something. It is my choice. Now, if somebody triggers something, it's still my choice to react to the trigger or respond to the trigger. So emotional state is sometimes one of the most challenging ones to really regulate. But it also, you get better and better at regulating emotional states through practice. And it's a decision. You need to make a decision. Without a choice, conscious choice, and a decision, it's really difficult to regulate any kind of emotional state. You have to be prepared. And spiritual state, that for each of us is different. It can be spiritual state as in my faith, my belief in something bigger, my belief also in myself, and my purpose. Have I defined, do I have a purpose? We all have a purpose. It could be 10 different things. It doesn't have to be one specific thing. It can be many things that is our purpose. But why are we doing what we do, for example? So all these states are our choice, and they do influence everything that we do, all the decisions that we make. So we're going into a second exercise, which is all about the state. The first one, I'm not going to ask you to stand up because this we can do on sitting down. You all in over there, you drive a lot. I don't own a car. I don't need a car over here. So if you want to experience that, this is a side note. You're always welcome to come over to Switzerland. I have a bicycle, so it's a little harder to do on a bike. But while you're sitting in a car or sitting on a chair like now, you can shake your body. And what it does, and if you stand up, it's even more powerful, but we can do it just sitting down. What it does is it kind of shakes you out of your current state. So this is physically changing your state from one to another. Usually what it does is it wakes you up a little bit. You will be better focused, and also you get your blood flowing. You might feel a little bit more blood in your hands. So let's just shake the hands like this. Drop the pen. There we go. I want to see the hands. Like lift them up like this. Now, if you're driving, please don't do this because, kind of need both hands or at least one on the driving, the steering wheel. So what you can do while you're driving, be creative. You can shake your head. You can still watch the road, right? You shake your head. You can lift your shoulders, shake your shoulders. You can, well, the feet are kind of important unless you're driving. maybe you might have a car that kind of drives itself, so then you can move your feet too. So be creative with this. Shake your body. If you feel like, okay, I need to just get out of whatever I'm in that is not productive, is not helpful, shake your body. The second one is pump your arms. Now, this you can do while driving, but only with one arm. What I mean is just going up and down, and usually with a breath. So when you breathe out, you don't like you're pulling down a weight, but you don't have a weight in your hands. So, and and you keep doing that a few times, and guarantee you, you are in a different state of mind, and it does create joy because you're like, oh yes, I'm doing this, I'm getting through, I will get through anything that I desire. And this last one might sound like, well, this is like I don't know. This is a prejudgment from my side because some of you might think, well, what is it like? Smile for 16 seconds. It's like, eh. No, it really is scientifically actually proven that smiling, we're going to get to the why afterwards, but just smile and not like this and grinning, smiling with all of your face. So really, the first thing you need to do is kind of relax your face in order for you to be able to use most of your muscles. So whatever it takes, you can, use your hands to kind of make sure that you're relaxed. And then we're going to count 16, or I'm going to put my timer on 16 seconds. And then we're going to smile for 16 seconds. I'll get to the 16 afterwards. So let's start smiling. As relaxed as possible. See, you can still speak. The best thing is to do in front of the mirror so you're smiling to yourself. You can see your eyes, you can see your mouth, you can see your cheeks. Oh, that was 16 seconds. See, that fast. Isn't that nice? I told you we're going to smile. If you didn't smile in the beginning, now you did. So, why? Why is that that especially the smile one, why is it effective? It's because facial feedback hypothesis. This is a study that was done among many universities as a collaboration led by Stanford University, where your body sends signals to your brain, and it really does. Face is one of the fastest shortcuts to this. Well, not necessarily because it's right by the brain, but yes. And it affects your mood and your level of stress. And 16 seconds has been kind of 16 or 17 seconds has been something that they've measured to allow enough of those. And now I'm not a scientist, so there are hormones that get released. So if you hold your smile, and this is a relaxed smile, and you're smiling with your face, and in the best opportunity you have yourself in front of you, smiling at yourself, you're releasing hormones that will allow you to relax and feel better and feel more joy. Your shoulders will drop. You will feel more relaxed, less tense. You will notice it in your shoulders. So if you keep doing that every once in a while, 16 seconds, you see how little that is? You can do 16 seconds anytime. If you don't want to start smiling in front of other people because you're thinking, well, what are they going to think? Which I think they're going to join you probably if you start smiling. But you can go, when you're in the bathroom, when you're in the shower, when you're in your car, keep smiling. And it is not just, oh, keep smiling and no, no, no. No, there's actually proof to that. So there we go. That was about the smile. And then I want to jump a little bit into, well, what is joy? Because maybe all of us might have a different definition of joy. It is a pretty broad, big concept, right? So what is it? So in one official or less official dictionary says a positive emotional state arising from a sense of well-being, fulfillment, or meaningful engagement. I think that's a pretty good one. And it can be towards anything, whether it's in relationships, in your job, in your whatever, your pets, you see other people smiling, and that creates fulfillment, maybe. It is a state of energized engagement with the present moment. And that's very important to remember because, yes, we do feel joy and everything else, like present moment is the only moment we ever have. So we can only actually influence our present moment joy. And when you are smiling, and if you are looking at yourself in the mirror when you're smiling, you are very much in the present moment. And that is a powerful moment to have. The more you repeat that, especially, for example, if you notice yourself drifting away in your thoughts, and we do that, every one of us, and then you want to return back to the present moment, smiling is one way that's a very gentle and kind, and you get a good feeling from this way of returning to the present moment. There are many other ways to return to the present moment, but this is maybe the most gentle way. And what it does is joy regulates the nervous system. So here we go, the first one. Um, so well, I would not like to read all this, but I will. Body shifts away from the threat mode. So we don't feel so threatened because often a lot of us are living in a constant state of stress, some more, some less. And sometimes this stress is even anxiety. Now, if we can somehow shift our thoughts, our being away from that anxiety, which even thinking about it makes me feel tense. My jaw is going to be tight and maybe my shoulders will rise up a little bit. Through this joy, especially through the smile or whatever way that you're remembering the moments, your breathing slows because you feel good. Your muscles are less tense and you are not as stressed or as nervous. Maybe even the anxiety, that feeling that of heightened stress will go away. And the more you get into the practice of doing this every day and in any situation, you will feel yourself to be more clear in your mind. It also broadens your attention. You will see solutions rather than the problems. There are enough problems in the world, but we need solutions, right? Whether it's in your personal life or in the outside world, in a business, with family, we want to have solutions because sometimes, oftentimes, it's a waste of energy simply to talk about the problems because it's just talking about the problems and that is not the solution. There we go. So, through this heightened level of joy, you will be more clear, so you will see more problems, more solutions. And it fuels sustainable performance. So all of those who have teams to lead, for example, to encourage being yourself and encourage remembering moments of joy and all the things that we've done so far here within a team that you work with. There is no need for anyone to motivate anyone. Motivation is a fleeting thing. It doesn't always exist, and we cannot wait or, wait for motivation to come. And if it's a, for example, in a team situation, if motivation is needed, there's something going on. Something's missing on a personal level. And joy is often the thing we kind of forget that we're supposed to also enjoy the work, right? Sometimes, no, of course, there are parts of everybody's work that you don't necessarily enjoy, but don't focus on those. Focus on the moments that you do enjoy. Just like in the reflection, that exercise was from Monday until today. What if a team was to also reflect once a week, for example, on all the moments of joy that they had as a team and individually working for the team, with the team? And they constantly remind themselves of these moments, so they will be living those moments over and over again, much more so than if they never were reminded of those moments, because we will go and focus on the things that we didn't enjoy unless we're prompted to do otherwise. So it's a very powerful thing in businesses, in all kinds of situations, families, for example. Now imagine a Christmas dinner Well, it's going to be Easter coming, but I don't know. Christmas is kind of a bigger thing. Or for you guys, it's a Thanksgiving, right? We don't have that. But Thanksgiving dinner, and there's a lot of people, everybody from the family. Maybe you only see yourselves for two occasions, the Christmas and the Thanksgiving for the year. It could be a little tense. Well, what if the question of give me three moments of joy you had last month, for example? What if you threw that question in with your family? Well, first, 80% of them will look at what is that for a question? Because they never heard that before. But then they get over it. And so you get into it. And imagine how the conversation will continue once everybody's kind of gone back in their mind. It's like, oh, yeah, I had that moment and that moment and that moment. And once they've gone to three, their mind will produce more. The whole environment, the whole atmosphere, and the conversations that will take place is going to be different. Because now you've introduced this joy and this tiny little question that can change everything. So we're going to drop into exercise number 3. Now, this is towards the future so that you are preparing yourself for joy. You can remember it is a choice. And so we're going to talk about an intention and that you make a choice consciously about setting an intention and about how you're going to feel about it, what's coming. So each one of you pick a moment that you know is going to come. Maybe it's coming in the next week. Maybe it's a conversation, an interview. Maybe it's a trip somewhere. Maybe it's meeting someone. Something that you know it's maybe already on your calendar. And then you set your intention. And this is not an outcome. It's not how you want the conversation to end. It's not what you want to achieve. If you have, for example, maybe you do sports and you have over the weekend, you might have a competition or a match or whatever. It's not the outcome, it's your intention. And what I mean by it is the overall, my intention could be I'm just going to approach it with curiosity. I really don't know what to, when maybe I have a conversation that's going to come on Monday and I'm a little nervous about it and it seems like a challenging conversation now that I think about it and it's Friday. Well, what if my intention for the conversation is to be curious? Curiosity is not an outcome, it's an intention. Something, how I approach something that will help me to get to an outcome that is the best possible outcome. And then ask yourself, what part of this challenge can I approach with curiosity? With maybe joy, enjoyment. Which part of this am I going to enjoy? Like I know I can decide now. I can decide now whether I'm going to be anxious about something or whether I'm going to be excited about something. So this is something that I'm not going to give you time to do. This is just like a little input of this is how one way to approach an upcoming, usually challenging, a little bit makes you nervous kind of situation. It doesn't have to be like bad nervous where you're going to have like a very uncomfortable conversation with someone at work because maybe it's about their performance or whatever it is that's, you know, not so nice usually. Or maybe it's a sporting event. You play soccer and your team is gonna have a match against, I don't know, the best one in the league. And yeah, it makes you a little nervous, but it's kind of different, right? But it could anything like that. And these are the things that you can go for. Pick the moment, set your intention, and then ask yourself, what can I approach with curiosity? And what does that mean to you in that situation? Am I curious about the other team? For example, if it was about the soccer game, like, who are they? What are their, best skills that they usually use during the game, whatever it is. Or if is a difficult conversation, well, how can I find out more about this person that I'm going to have a conversation with? Like, because the better I know them, the better the conversation will be. So getting curious will lift you up in your energy, and it will create more excitement, which then creates also more enjoyable moments. So I hope this makes sense, please. And I think in the end, we have a question and answer. So write down your question. I know that there are a lot of comments too, but I can't look at them right now. So here we go to the why. Why this? Because intentions govern goals. Goals are set. Goals are important, very important. Often the goals are the things that help us keep focused. Whether it's a goal, it could be a bigger vision too. But an intention is, how do I go about it? Because everything in between is kind of uncertain. We don't know. The only thing we can kind of decide on is the first step. Once we've made a decision, we make a first step, and then we know what it looks like. And then we know, oh, okay, well, the second step might look like this, but we cannot know in beginning all the next 10 steps or however many there are. So getting comfortable with the uncertainty is absolutely crucial, and an intention helps you with getting comfortable with the uncertainty. Because then, if your intention is to be curious, you're not going to be going back in your thought and being all anxious about not knowing. Because, it's just something you just cannot know. The future is uncertain, and it's inherently so. So, joy as a strategy instead of an outcome is a choice you make. We already discussed this earlier, and we're discussing it again because it is so important. You have 100% control and 100% responsibility over your own choosing of joy. If you choose so many words, um, if you choose to find moments of joy, pay attention to them, you will. If you choose to look at challenges and see problems, you will. 100%. It is your choice. And there is, like I said again, there is nobody on the outside of you who has the power over what you choose. Might sometimes seem like that, but there isn't. Look, I'm talking as much to myself as I am to you, because yes, I'm also human and I am not perfect. And sometimes things tick me off, and there we go. So I am with you. None of us is perfect. So here again, we had these three things, these tools, the notice the moments of joy, the reflection tool. Now, reflection, you don't have to limit that to joy. Reflection is in general in all, well, I go back to my videos that I've been doing like for maybe 2 years, every single Friday. I call it a Reflection Friday, and it always starts with, hello, everybody. It's Friday, and here we are. It is Friday, and it is Reflection Friday. So I do encourage you to, not just because of joy, but because of everything else too. It just helps you get one step back and look at without judgment. That is very, very important. There is no judgment, and there is no comparison with anybody else. The only one you can compare with is your own notes from, let's say, last week. And you can see how you're developing. Do you have recurring things, or do you have, a development that you see? Have you noticed something new? This is the only comparison you can do, because nobody else's notes have nothing to do with yours. They're their personal notes. Regulate your physical state. So physical, actually, we mentioned also mental, emotional, and spiritual state. In all of our being, we have these states and we have full control over them. And if you remember, like in the beginning, when you're starting new tools, set yourself some kind of reminders or post-it notes or whatever it is that will help you in the beginning to kind of get going. Because yes, if you've never done that, if you've never actually used changing the state of your being as a tool, you do need some reminder to do so. So whatever it is, if it's a little post-it note on your computer screen or at the mirror in your bathroom, or a little note that pops up on your phone, use it. At some point you will notice you don't ever actually have to look at it again, because now it's become something that you do. But use that. And the third one was setting intentions instead of chasing outcomes. So setting intentions, it's also a very kind and gentle way to go about things without putting extra pressure on yourself. Because when we are chasing outcomes, how often is an outcome even slightly different than that we actually wanted to have? Quite often. So we're setting ourselves up for more stress, more anxiety, and disappointment, and all of those things if we are very, very focused on outcomes. Especially in a place of transition, maybe this is a very important thing to do because we kind of want, as humans, we want to know the future. We want to know when something's happening. However, one thing that we have no control over is timing. And that is one of the most difficult things often to just let go and be like, okay, I don't know when it's going to happen. So setting an intention will help you release that pressure and to see and open yourself up for more of those moments of joy, more of those relaxation, letting yourself be in the moment as well. You're more in the moment when you don't set an outcome and you're very determined and you're emotionally invested into a specific outcome. So these are the three things that we went through today. Here, those three fingers. And then, yeah, I'm gonna stress this point again. Return to reflection. So right now you can also, think like, okay, what's my one takeaway, the number one takeaway from this session? Are there any moments of joy, insight, relief, whatever it is? It's a reflection. It's like someone was observing your situation and your mind right now and is saying, oh, yeah, Sigmund had an aha moment um, when he was writing down those moments of joy because that one moment that stood out for him was like, oh, yeah, I keep seeing this over and over again. And just now I noticed. Now I'm talking like I was in your mind, Sigmund. Sorry, I don't read your mind, but you're at the top of my screen. That's why. So I picked on you. So for your own, maybe this is also another exercise because I do would like for you to keep using reflection as a tool for anything, whether you are looking for a new opportunity to work, whether you are leading a team somewhere, whether you are in whatever you are. A reflection is a very healthy tool to use for any situation and something that I would encourage everybody to do. And not just for joy, for everything. And then my final question is, will you choose joy? Because I do. I've learned to choose joy. It's not something that I've always had. I think children do have, because they don't think so much like we do. They don't put these things in front of their own selves. Um, but we kind of learn not to choose joy because we learn that it's an outcome. However, I hope that you have now learned that it's not an outcome. It is something that you use every single day that you can choose to use. You can decide to use to help yourself move forward, to help yourself live on a daily basis with feeling good, because that's why we're here. We're not here on this, however many years you end up living on this planet. In this lifetime, it is not going to be more than 120 something, probably. Oh, who knows? But, we kind of, 100 is kind of very, very old, right? So let's say we all live to 100. It's only 100 years in this whole, I don't know, billions of years. It is nothing. So these 100 years, we're not here to feel struggle, to feel and dwell in pain and sadness and anxiety. We are here. Yes, those things exist too. However, we can choose at any moment to focus on joy. That will help us get through the struggles that we're going through. That will help us get through and break through anxiety. And that is up to you. So, with that, I thank you for your time. And it's very, I would love to. This is my LinkedIn profile. So please send me a connection request. I love them when all those little numbers pop up and then it's like, oh, you have 100 requests. And
Paula, thank you. What's interesting, and I love the breakdown of the three steps. And so many people, me included, it's like, when things are going smoothly, you can tap into these things more readily, right? And and then it gets harder when you're facing, some kind of adversity, whatever it is,
Mhm,
or you're in a deep funk. And
mhm,
I know that the common statement that we hear from so many authors is look for gratitude, right? And so I think that the joy is another tool, because gratitude is one thing. Joy, it's yet another tool. And but even the reflection of, okay, when did I have joyful moments? That can start. I mean, all of these are like micro adjustments
mhm.
sometimes, right? It's not like a huge shift. And sometimes I think people, just expect it to be a huge shift, but it's got to be these micro adjustments so that it's not the expectation isn't that it's just going to be, okay, I'm not happy or I'm concerned or worried, and then um now I'm okay.
Exactly. Well, you're saying that it really isn't, it isn't about the big things. And none of this is rocket science. None of this is new. It really is something that we all inherently have because we're all human. So it really is just a rediscovery in some cases, or a rethinking of, reprogramming our own selves to choose the joy, to choose and really take on that responsibility and the opportunity at the same time. That responsibility is the opportunity. If I am responsible for everything that I feel and think and how I react or respond to things, well then, this is my opportunity. Well, I decided for myself, like, look, this is not something I had. I've had many years of a lot of struggle and I didn't see it this way. However, it changed. And if you want to know the whole story, get in touch with me because I don't think we have time for that. But anyway, I've gone through this struggle. And look, it's still to this day, of course, I am human and I do struggle sometimes. However, as much as I can, I do choose the joy. I choose to see the moments of joy. I love to make people laugh and smile, and I am really open about it. And that is the way that I have decided that I want to live my life. And I want my kids to see me do that. So in the hopes that they will see it in action. What I say is not something that they actually listen often, right? They don't actually do that. But they can see. They see how people react when they see me. They see how I react to things and that I learn that I'm not perfect. Look, I'm not perfect, and they see that too. And so, but that's my biggest like motivation is also to have my kids. I do hope that they see this and that I show them the best possible example, and that gives me the energy to go and do this for a lot of other people. And the most difficult part often, as I've worked with a lot of people, is to keep going and doing your routine, keep choosing joy, even when things are really good. Like you have a fantastic time period of your life. Everything is going smoothly, and every struggle seems like just a little wind that blows through your life. That you still keep doing that, the conscious choices, that you still keep doing your routines and keeping up with your habits that seem like maybe pointless. But then comes the time, because that's how life is, there's something coming. Something comes and things crash down, or it feel like somebody pulled the rug up from underneath you, or something like that's when all of those habits and those choosing of joy and training yourself to do so will be absolutely crucial.
Uh,
That's
You
my
know,
point.
oh, Sigmund, go ahead.
just a quick thing, the Friday moments of joy memory thing is, I think, amazingly powerful. I was just remembering something myself that in the moment it was okay. It was nice, but there were some ups and downs in it. But when I think about, dang, that was really overall, I almost end up reframing the whole memory into a joyful one because I was searching for that part and I remembered, wow, there were more good parts than bad in that. And I really felt the power of that exercise. I think not only to have you recognize the joy, but even reframing or re-emphasizing parts of your own, personal history to be focused on the joy. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sigmund.
it's really interesting. The other thing that you talk about is set your intentions instead of chasing outcomes. I think by default we chase outcomes, right? And as a way of becoming joyful. Um, and then everything is contingent on those outcomes. And but to set the intention and I Sigmund alluded to it. I mean, and you did, Paula. It's like we have to be prepared for the dips. So it's kind of like going to the gym and, making sure that we're focusing on, fitness in this area so that when the dips happen, we're more prepared and it's not like utter shock. And because things do happen. And I mean, there's so much going on in the world right now with the war and the job search challenge and people not necessarily knowing what to do next. They have so many options and um, you know, and it's really important. You know what I found, Paula, is I was taking a look at Barbara Fredrickson's book, and Barbara Fredrickson, the author of Positivity, right?
Mhm.
And she writes specifically about joy. And I thought it was really interesting because, again, so many people talk about gratitude, but what she says is joy is a great example. Feeling joyful makes us want to play, which makes us more creative and helps us find solutions that we would usually have missed. And again, I mean, it is so important because the more positive, the higher level positive state that we can be in, the more creative we can be. And you're right, life is meant to be enjoyed, right?
Absolutely.
And every time I see your post, every time I've, seen a little video clip of something that you've done, you are the epitome of joy. I have to say, you really are. And I smile when I read your posts. And I so appreciate you being here and everything that you've shared. And you make the correlation between athletes and leaders. And you're right. And there's, another speaker that had made that we're executive athletes, right? And
Mhm.
we don't have the physical endurance part necessarily, but it's the mental and the leadership. And especially in job search, we're job search athletes and we're business growth athletes, whatever it is. If we look at ourselves as that athlete, it's about preparing and making sure that we have we're in a good, a positive state. Paula, we're going to ask you back, and I think you'll know that. And but thank you. We're going to send out your contact information so people can get in touch with you. And we'll have the recording up on the YouTube library and share it with others, please. And because, we all need these little tidbits to remind us of how to get back to that joyful state. And thank you all for joining us. We're dark next week, but the following week we're going to talk about, you know, 2026 and how to think of it as an investor and what the markets are looking like. And this is a very dynamic. They're preparing with all of the changes as we speak, and it'll be a really interesting conversation. And but thank you so much, Paula, for being with us. And all the way from Switzerland. And thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Enjoy the day, enjoy the weekend, tap into joy.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yay. See you
Bye-bye.
soon.